Hi, I'm Simon Reynolds, and welcome to the Fortune Institute. If you own a business or you're looking to own a business, this lesson could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to you. I'm going to talk about ways that you can quickly, massively increase your company's profits. Now, some people charge up to $10,000 to tell you what I'm about to teach you in the next hour. It really can make you rich. I call today's lesson Superfast Ways to Increase Your Profits. So let's get started. The first way you can easily increase your profits is to triple your communication with current customers. I mean, think about it. We spend almost all our time trying to get new customers. But what about the ones we've already got? They're much easier to sell. They're much more likely to buy from us. It's a far better use of our time to concentrate on our current clients. So how do you do that? Well, number one, you call them more often. Just ring them up more, whether it's every week, every month, every quarter. Whatever's normal for your business, increase it. Once you do that, you begin to develop a relationship. They begin to think of you more, and you'll begin to get even more profits. Number two, offer them new products. So literally brainstorm with your team and say, what else could we offer our current clients? The customers we've already got, what do they like? What could we do more of? How could we extend our product or service range? And when you start thinking this way, it doesn't take long. You'll find in 10 minutes, in 20 minutes, you're going to find a whole slew of things you can use to increase your business. The main thing is just to devote the time thinking about it, and you'll get the results. And thirdly, you can offer other people's products to your clients. Now, this is a breakthrough for many people. Most people assume that they've only got their own products or service to offer, but that's simplistic thinking. Let's say you're an accountant and your clients are mostly other businesses. Well, yes, you can offer them all the same accountancy stuff, but what else could you offer them? Well, what do all your clients want? They want to make more money. So why don't you sell them a business course? Literally go around and find someone that delivers a top quality business course and offer it to them. Now, when you do that, and that may be just a letter to them, an email to them, or even a ring around to your clients offering this course, what you're going to find is that 5 or 10% of them will probably take it up. You're not delivering the course. It's not taking any time for you to do this, but you're getting maybe 20, 30, 40, 50% of the potential profits, depending on the deal that you do with the guy who runs the business course. It's really easy, it's really smart, and it's a really effective way to increase your revenue. Number two, after you've tripled your communication with your current customers, triple your communication with your potential customers. It's a very simple technique, but it really works. It certainly worked for me. Let me tell you the following story. About 13 years ago, I was running a business, and frankly, I didn't know really as much about running a business and growing a business as I do today. And I was having trouble. I could not get clients. And I went to see a friend of mine, and he said, have you ever read the work of Justin Rolf Marsh? I had to admit that I hadn't. So I investigated this guy, I went to meet him, and eventually employed him. So who is he? Well, Justin Rolf Marsh is a sales process engineer. Never heard of it? Neither had I. But a sales process engineer does a really remarkable job. They're in charge of the entire process from the time that you meet a customer to the time that you get a sale from the customer. And they really work on finessing that process. And Justin said to me, he said, do you sell a product or service? And I said, I sell a service. And he said, look, here's the problem. When you go to present to a client, you don't know whether they're going to give you the business next week, next month, call you in 3 months and say they want to employ you, in 6 months, a year, 5 years, or 10 years, or never. He said, that's the problem. And as an extension of that, he said, haven't you found that you've done a great presentation to clients, and then 9 months later, you hear that they gave the business to someone else? So why did that occur? It really resonated with me because that had occurred to me frequently, and probably you as well. He said, it's all to do with two concepts, recency and frequency. He said, if you're selling a service, it's the recency with which you called them or contacted them that is absolutely crucial. And the frequency, how often you actually call them or contact them. And I really thought about that, and I thought, he's right. I'm generally having a meeting with these people and then maybe a year later asking them how they're going, or 6 months later giving them a call and checking up. It's not enough. So we transformed the way our company did business. And in the end, our company was contacting a list of around 400 clients about 16 times a year. So what kind of stuff were we doing? Well, we'd send them newsletters. Every month or so, we'd send them reports. Occasionally, we'd send them books. So once or twice a year, if I saw a book that I thought was really good on building your business or on marketing, I'd send it to key clients. We'd invite them occasionally to lunches. We'd invite them occasionally to events. One of the best things we did was actually just send them magazine articles about their industry. And you might do that 2-3 times a year, just stuff that really helps them. So what was the result of this? The result was, all of a sudden, they hear from this company all the time. Now, critically, the company's not just asking for money from them. The company's helping them. It's assisting them. It's really becoming a friend. It's building a relationship with them. It's all about giving in the communications rather than asking for what you can get. And after a while, clients, customers really appreciate it. Let me give you a few examples. I remember we had been doing this system of sending lots of contacts with clients for a few months, and suddenly I got a call from a very large copier company, Ricoh, one of the world's biggest photocopier companies. And they said, look, we've just received your latest mailer. We've decided not to go with our current agency, and we're putting the account up for pitch. But you've got to be here in the next 2 hours because it's really late in the process, and we'll put you in the pitch if you can get here soon. So obviously, we drove over there. We presented our credentials, and eventually we ended up winning that business. Now, here's the key point. If I hadn't have sent the mailer 24 hours prior, if they hadn't have got it that day, I wouldn't have got on the shortlist. Recency of contact is absolutely vital. Let me give you another example. There's a big paint company in Australia called Taubmans. One day, out of the blue, we get a call from Taubmans, and they say, hey, we'd like to put you on our pitch. Now, this is a pitch worth over $1 million a year. And we said, well, thanks, but why are you putting us on the pitch? And they said, well, look, we have never seen a company that has devoted more time to our business. You're sending us stuff all the time. You seem so passionate about the business. We just really love your approach. Now, here's the reality. We didn't even know we were sending them stuff. They were just one of 400 clients on the list we were contacting. But it made a huge difference to them. They thought it was all about them. They felt great, and we got on the shortlist for a very large account. Thirdly, we had a lot of luck with an appliance company called Breville. I rang the head of marketing. He said, sure, come on in, show us what you got. I thought that was all a bit too easy, but once I got into his office, I found out why. There up on the wall was one of our promotions. So it had been sitting there for about 3 months on his notice board. To me, I didn't know about that. To him, it was a daily reminder that we were an excellent company to do business with. When you increase the recency and the frequency with which you contact potential customers, within about 6 months, your business will not be the same. It will be completely transformed if you do it right. The next way to massively increase your profits is one that some people will love and others simply will not be able to accept. And that is, put your prices up. That's it. It's that simple. Put your prices up. Now, a lot of people say that's impossible. Our competitors are already charging less than us. I can't put my prices up. Well, have you really tested that? Have you really tested whether you'll lose clients if you put your prices up, say, 10%? Almost no company has. Almost every company is charging too little for its products and services. Now, you might think that is a crazy thing to suggest, but I'd like to put to you that the way you look at what your customer wants may in fact be flawed. Your customer may talk about price, but what they're really talking about is value. And price is only a component of value. Your trustworthiness is a component of value. Your quality is a component of value. Your range is a component of value. Your service is a component of value. Price is just one component. It doesn't equal value. So don't make the mistake of thinking that price is everything. Here's the cold, hard reality. When you lift your prices up, most people don't complain. That's right. You can literally, almost every business can lift its prices up 10%, and the majority of customers will not complain. Now, here's the magic of it. When you lift your prices 10%, that money goes straight to the bottom line. It's a total net profit. Think about it. You don't have to employ anybody else. You don't have to get new machinery. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to spend any more money. It's just bottom line profit. And next, you get a better type of customer when you charge more money. Let's be honest. When you look at the stats, they show that around 10%, maybe 20% of people are absolutely obsessed with the price. Most aren't. Now, here's the critical point. When you lift your prices, you have to simultaneously emphasize value in your marketing. The only reason that they'll object to price is if you haven't talked about all the other great stuff that you do, how you make your product, the care you take, the history of your product, how we're really devoted to giving you an extraordinary product experience. If you do all that, they won't worry about the price going up. Trust me, try it, it'll work. Let me tell you an amazing example, a true story, about a company that lifted its prices. I know a guy who owned a burglar alarm company, and they would sell those alarms door to door. They started out selling them for about $600. And he looked at that and he said, well, we're doing pretty well. Why don't we lift the price, see what happens? He lifted it to $700. What happened? Same amount of sales. So he said, lift it again. And he lifted it again and again and again and again. $800, $900, $1,000. He started charging for the same burglar alarm, no change. And still, people kept buying. $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 he charged, $1,500 he charged, and he was still getting the same amount of sales. And at about $1,600, it capped out. That's when the sales started to go down. Now imagine this. If he'd have only stuck to the $600 price, how much money was he throwing away? Now, I'm not necessarily saying you should increase your product's price by that amount, but that's the power of it. Start with 10% and then look at it from there. You'd be surprised how often lifting your price will work. Number 4, ask for referrals. If you're like most good business people, you'll know that 20%, 30%, sometimes 50% of your business comes from people referring you. They got a good experience. They said, hey, check this guy out. He really does a great job. Now, you know that's true for your business, but why don't you make more of it? Why don't you actually ask for referrals? So how do you do that? Well, you literally just get used to asking. When someone buys your product, at that point, all the research shows at that point they're most interested in you. They're most excited about your products and services. At that point, you just say, as they're signing the check, hey, you wouldn't know anybody else who could do with this, who would get value out of this. And you'll find 5% of times you'll get a customer out of that. It really works. Also, you can go to your previous customers. So you can call up your old customers and say, hey, are you enjoying the service? Are you enjoying the product? You wouldn't know anybody else who needs this, would you? Once again, you'll find 2, 3, 4, 5, 10% of people will give you a lead, and some of those will convert, and you'll get more money. And it costs you nothing to do this. It costs you a few phone calls, and it really works. In addition, you can even give them incentives. You can give them gifts. So you might say, hey, there's a free trip to Fiji in the offering if you give us a referral. The people who give us a referral are in the competition, and we're going to limit it to only 30 people. That's a great offer. Or you give them a case of champagne, or you give them a discount on some of your other goods for giving you a referral. If you do it the right way, it's not going to come across as tacky. It'll come across as cool. You're doing a favor for them. You're giving them a reward for helping you. Okay, the next method that you can really easily increase your profits is to contact your very old customers, those people that years ago you used to work with. If you've still got a record of them, give them a call. Not all of them hate you. Not all of them aren't dealing with you because they've got a problem with you or they prefer another company. Sometimes their business just stopped or their needs just changed. Give them a call. You can do it in probably 2 afternoons. And at the end of that, you're going to find, once again, you're going to get a handful of new business because you'll have called them at exactly the right time. You know, one of my great mistakes in my 25 years in the advertising business is I didn't keep contact with old clients. I look at it now and I think if only I had, after about 10 years in the business, I could have just called them and I would have got 5–10% more business every time I did. It was just insane to do it, and don't make my mistake. Number 6, increase average transaction price. Well, what do I mean by that? It sounds pretty complex. Well, it's actually pretty simple. All I'm advocating is that you look at how much do I make from a typical customer. So that might be $10, it might be $3,000. And then you work on increasing the amount that each customer is giving you at the time of transaction. So how would you do it? Well, first of all, you just ask. The classic example of that is McDonald's. McDonald's have made hundreds of millions of dollars with one sentence. And that sentence is, would you like fries with that? Now that is said all over the world as you order your burger. And they have made a fortune with that sentence. So you can do the same. Just train your staff to try and upsell them to another product or service or an additional product or service. It's such a simple thing, but so often it works. Next up, offer them bundles. Now, a classic example of this is the international bath and body shop called The Body Shop. Not the most original name, but an incredibly successful business. Now, when you go shopping at The Body Shop, what they do is they bundle up their items in baskets or in little gift packs, and so often you end up buying 3 or 4 products in a bundle instead of just 1 or 2. It makes a massive difference to their profits. But there's no reason that you can't bundle your products either physically or in the cell. When you're doing a presentation, you can bundle up your services. Potentially, and this is the next method, you can give a discount for those bundles as well, or give a discount just for extra purchases. Now, a couple of examples of this. Amazon. If you bought a book from Amazon, you'll notice that as you buy it, they say, hey, how about this book on a similar subject? If you buy these 2 books, we'll give you a discount. Now, I, for one, have bought that second book many times, and you have probably thought of doing so too. Amazon is one of the greatest business success stories of our time, and it's with those kind of techniques that they made it happen. Or have a look at Universal Studios. You go to Universal Studios in Hollywood, you pay a certain amount for the day, and you don't pay that much more for a whole year. So that really encourages people, that kind of discount, to say, hey, heck, I'll buy the whole year so I can go into Universal anytime I like in the next year. How many people actually come back to Universal in that year? Precious few. But they have got more money out of you in a very simple way by offering a big discount for a further purchase. In addition, you can sell premium products. You've got a certain range of products and services, but every company could think of a more expensive product or service to add to their list. If you do that, you'll find that there's a handful of people who will buy it. There's maybe 5 or 10%, maybe more, of the population that like to buy the best of everything. So if they're buying a shirt, they want the best shirt. If they're buying a pen, they want the best pen. If they're buying a lawyer, they want the best lawyer. So you need to offer a more expensive product. And if you do that, you're going to attract the 5 or 10%. Truly. You'd be amazed what you can charge for products. Let me give you an example. You probably heard of the famous motivational leadership, personal development guru, Anthony Robbins. Well, let's have a look at his business model. You can buy for, say, $20 a book from Anthony Robbins. For $50 or $60, you can probably buy a couple of CDs or DVDs. For $800, you can probably buy a 1-day course. For a few $1,000s, you can buy a 5-day course. For over $10,000, he'll sell you his Mastery University, which is a comprehensive curriculum on personal development. And if you want personal coaching, believe it or not, he has a person, just one person, paying him $1 million a year for personal coaching. Now imagine if he had said, hey, I'm just an author. Or imagine if he had said, well, surely people won't pay more than $200 for my products. Test premium products. They work. Now, ideally, what you should do is create what I call a product pyramid. Now, with a product pyramid, It's shaped, surprise, surprise, just like a pyramid. And at the bottom is a large number of inexpensive products, then a smaller number of products of a higher price, and then an even smaller number of more expensive products, and then just a handful of products, maybe only one, that's really expensive. It's a pyramid of cost and a pyramid of value. Now, when you do this, you'll find that maybe only a small percentage of people will buy what's in the top pyramid, but it does two things. Number one, it gets you a lot of revenue. And number two, by having expensive products, and this is a key point, it makes your cheaper products look better value. And that's a fact, fully researched. Number 7, experiment with limited time offers. Now, limited time offers work for 2 reasons. They force action. If you know you've only got a week to buy something, you immediately take it more seriously than if you've got an unlimited time to buy something. And you see property developers do this. They'll limit the time. You'll see it on the internet all the time. They'll limit the time. And you know what? It works. It not only forces action, it increases desire. And there's a researcher by the name of Robert Cialdini who's shown this conclusively. If you make something look scarce, if you make it look like it's not going to be available, then the average person thinks it's often of more worth. I was involved recently with an internet company that sold courses. And we found that when we announced that we were going to have a price rise in about 2 weeks, everybody would then buy. They'd come out of the woodwork. People we hadn't heard from for ages would come out and say, hey, I've got to buy before the price rise. Well, this happened a couple of times, and we thought, wow, we've got to really make the most of this. So we started increasing our prices every 12 weeks. Not only were we getting the extra revenue from the higher prices, we were getting a massive increase of sales because of the time-limited offer. It really works. Now, you can do that on your own internet site by saying, this offer ends in 4 days, 3 days, 2 days, 1 day, or this offer will only last for the next hour. Or you can say, buy today and we'll throw in this. You know, this whole idea of offering bonuses with time limitations really works. And it certainly worked on me. You know, every year I spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on business courses. Why do I do that? I do that because if I spend $2,000 or $3,000 on a business course and I get one idea that increases my income 10%, then obviously I've made a lot more than the cost of the course. So I'm always buying courses. But a few weeks ago, I got sucked in to buying this course by a very clever limited time offer. They had the course, and then they had 5 interviews as bonuses. And every couple of days, if you procrastinated on your decision, they got rid of one of the bonuses. So I was deciding, should I buy this course? Should I not buy this course? And each day or two, another bonus would be missing. And after 2 bonuses are gone and I only had 3 left to get, I just bought it. I didn't want to lose any more bonuses. It was a really powerful time-limited offer. You've got to experiment with it. It really works. Number 8, switch to long copy ads. In general, the more you tell, the more you sell. Now, that's the opposite to how most business people think. When you look at the average ad, it normally has the name of the company, a telephone number, and a logo, and that's about it. But is that really going to sell anybody on anything? Not really. They'd be so much better off increasing the amount of copy and giving people some actual stuff that they can read to convince them to go with you. They'd be so much better actually lengthening the copy and giving people some reasons to buy. Now, a lot of people say, well, no one reads long copy. And I agree that the vast majority of people will not want to read your ad or your brochure or your sales letter. But here's the point. The people who are ready to buy your product will. Sure, it's a tiny percentage of the readers of that magazine or that newspaper, but they're the people ready to buy. They're really interested. Let me tell you an amazing fact. I did some consulting for General Motors, and they told me that at any one time, only 2% of people are ever looking to buy a car. So all those ads that you see on TV, they're just for 2% of the population. 98 out of 100 people aren't interested. And yet these car companies turn over billions of dollars. Why? Because the 2% really are interested. And they'll read the information. They'll go to lectures on it. They'll sit on the website for tens of hours sometimes, researching between brands, between companies, between dealerships. They really care. So write enough copy for people who are actually ready to buy. I bought 2 Porsches in my life, and it's an amazing sales process. It's a relatively expensive car. And what they give you is a 70 or 80 page hardback book so that you can go home and read all this stuff about Porsches that normally you'd never be interested in, how they make their tyres, what their axles do, all this technical stuff. Now, it has 2 effects. Number 1, you get really involved and engaged in a Porsche. And number 2, even if you don't read it, you go, wow, it's such an effort to build a Porsche. It's really something extraordinary. Now, when I say you've got to write copy that's longer, I don't mean you just bore people to death with the copy. You've got to make it interesting. You've got to put interesting facts in about your product or service. And some people say, I don't have anything interesting to say about my product or service. It's boring. No, no, no. There is no product that is boring. Do your research. Your interesting facts could be in the history of the company, or the people behind the company, or your philosophy, or your range, or your service. Look deep, and you'll find stories everywhere. Now, a classic example of this is one of the greatest copywriters, ad writers of all time, a guy called David Abbott. And over a 30-year period, he was always creating extraordinary marketing for boring products. For example, one day he had to advertise a standard hair conditioner from Weller. He used the following headline: "The average hairdryer puts out enough heat to bake a sponge cake. What's it doing to your hair?" And in the copy he said, hairdryers are dangerous. They're really bad for your hair. Look what they did to this sponge cake. What you've got to do is use Weller hair conditioner. It will protect you from the hairdryer. He did another ad for skin cream, again with an extraordinary fact. He said in the headline, "Your skin is only 3 weeks old, so treat it like a baby." I didn't know that. Did you know that? Your skin is only ever 3 weeks old. It keeps rejuvenating. So he said you need the right skin cream to keep it like a baby. And there was a classic example when he had to sell plain old supermarket mineral water, not even flavoured mineral water, just plain supermarket mineral water. How did he do it? Well, the company was Sainsbury's, a British supermarket. And the headline for his ad said, "From Sainsbury's comes a drink that no one's ever drunk before." That's kind of interesting, but the killer fact was in the copy. Somehow he had found out that the average glass of tap water that you drink has been drunk 7 times before by other people. So they drink it, they urinate, it goes into a river, it evaporates, it comes back, someone else drinks it, urinates, evaporates, drinks it, urinates, etc., 7 times, and the 7th time, it's your turn. Now, apart from putting you off tap water for life, what did that do? It suddenly made mineral water really worth getting. You can find those kind of facts. You've just got to spend the time looking for them. Now, the trick is that you don't write about the features of your product. You write about the benefits of your product. I mean, let's look at this. Let's say you own a drill company. Do people want drills? And you say, sure, people want drills. They sell tens of thousands of drills every week. No one wants a drill. What people want is a hole. That's what they're buying. Talk about the benefits of your product, not just what the product is. Now, if you're not sure what to do with long copy, just change your ad to 7 reasons why you should hire me as your plumber, or 7 reasons why XYZ, and just give them the reasons. And it's almost certain that your ad will get a better response. Okay, number 9, create a mountain of testimonials. Here's the problem. When you do your marketing, talking about how great your company is, most people don't believe it. I mean, you don't believe it when you read all these ads in the newspaper, do you? Because we know people are trying to sell us something. However, if you use testimonials, well, people tend often to trust them. Why? Because it's someone else, someone not involved with your business that's saying, hey, I used them and they were really good. You should check them out. Now, of course, the testimonials have got to be authentic. They've got to be real people and they've got to be persuasive. But if you start using testimonials in your business, you're going to get an increase in sales because people trust testimonials, especially compared to normal advertising. Now, when I talk about testimonials, I don't mean 1 or 2 testimonials, because plenty of companies do that. I'm talking about building your business around testimonials, getting tens, hundreds of testimonials and putting them on your website, putting them in your sales process, putting them up on videos around the place. Video testimonials are one of the most powerful things you can do, whether it's on your internet or in your sales presentation or in your store. People want to buy stuff that other people think is good. If you're not making testimonials a critical part of your sales experience, then you're leaving money on the table. The 10th method of easily increasing your profits is ask your customers what they want. Now that sounds really simplistic, but do you really know what your customers want? Have you actually asked them what they want? Have you actually done a survey that says, hey, if you could have anything in a product, what would you have? Most people have not asked their customers. Now, what you're going to find when you do ask them is they're going to say some stuff that you didn't think of, or they're going to have a priority that you didn't realize. So how do you ask them? Well, just send them out a survey. Send them a bottle of wine or give them a gift or have a competition and say, if you fill out this survey, these simple 6 questions, you'll get this reward, and we'd really appreciate it. And you'll find 20% of people, 10% of people will send the survey back, and you'll be surprised by what they say. After you do that, what do? Simple. You give it to them. You say, okay, this is what they said. Now give them a product that reflects that. Now, 2 things happen when you do that. First of all, they go, wow, that's amazing. I suggested this and I got a product or I got a service that reflected that. These people really listen to me. And second of all, you're going to make more money because now, for once, you're absolutely precise about what your customer actually desires. Number 11, and this is a really interesting one. This can increase your business by up to 20% statistically, but most people don't have the guts to do it. What is it? Offer a money-back guarantee. And people go, oh, I couldn't possibly offer a money-back guarantee. Everybody had asked for their money back. It'll send me broke. But if you offer a money-back guarantee, it really improves your sales process. Why? A simple reason. The number 1 reason that people are not buying from you is risk. The risk that there's a better product somewhere, the risk that they can't afford it, the risk that a few months down the track there'll be an introduction of a new product. Risk, risk, risk. That is the essence of why they're not buying from you now. But when you offer a money-back guarantee, you instantly get rid of the vast majority of their risk. Now, here's the point about it. Number 1, it says your product must be good. I mean, think about it. If you see a company that has an ironclad guarantee, you go, wow, they must really believe in their product. So it sells your product. Number 2, virtually nobody ever calls you on it. The statistics of people that actually ask for their money back are incredibly small. But here's the point. You've got to make the guarantee obvious. There's no point having a guarantee and having it somewhere down in the copy. You've got to build your business around it and make it really, really noticeable. And one of the best ways to do that is not just to offer a money-back guarantee, but offer a really memorable money-back guarantee. Let me give you a couple of examples. A few weeks ago, I was talking to a company about doing a speech for them. And they asked me my fee. And I said, my fee is $10,000 for the hour. And the guy said, oh, that's pretty expensive. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $20,000 if you don't think it's worth it. Now, that really stopped him in his tracks. How could he say no after that? That's a killer guarantee. And obviously, I'm only offering it because I'm certain that my speech is going to be of value to their organization. But what killer guarantees could you offer? Another example was on the internet I saw recently. Someone was selling a course and you could buy it, use it for an entire year, and then at the end of the year, give it back, and they'd still give you all your money back. Now, how can someone offer that? Well, it's easy. Almost no one ever asks for their money back. Look at a money back guarantee. It can make a huge difference to your business. Number 12, use multiple marketing approaches. Now, I hope in the last hour that I've shown you some methods that you haven't even thought of doing for your business. But there's a stack of them. But you look at the average business and they're only doing 1 or maybe 2 styles of marketing. You need at least 4 out of 5. You really do, because I can tell you there are media that work for you. There are promotions that work for you. There are marketing opportunities and systems that work for you if only you gave them a try. You're missing out on huge money not doing this. It can make a colossal difference to your business. And finally, number 13, absolutely critical, test everything. A guy called Lord Leverhulme said, "I know that half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. I just don't know which half." Do you know how he feels? A lot of people do. You place these ads in the paper and you're never really sure whether you're getting any real new business from it. You've got to test. Otherwise, really, you're wasting thousands and thousands of dollars on your marketing. Now, one of the best ways of testing an ad is what is known as an A/B split test. So you never actually only run one ad. You run a second ad, and you pick which gets the better response to run the next week. And then you run a second ad against that ad, and then a second ad against that ad, until finally you've got an ad that probably works 10 times better than your original ad. Now, a lot of people keep running the same ad because it worked, and they think that's good marketing because the ad is bringing in more than it costs. Well, that's okay marketing, but great marketing is to maximize that ad so it's bringing all that it could. And that is usually a lot more than whatever you're running now. Small changes can make a huge difference to the effectiveness of your advertising. You could do a brochure in a different color, put a different photo, different copy, put an ad on the right-hand page instead of the left-hand page, make an ad a different shape. All these things affect response. But if you don't test, if you don't experiment with them, you'll never know. You've got to sit down and say, how can I create a 3-month test of different advertising, different headlines, different copy points, and even different media? So let me conclude on that point with a story about a blind man and a copywriter. What's a copywriter? It's someone who writes ads for a living. Every day the copywriter went to work, he had to walk across a park. And every day he'd see a blind man sitting against a tree begging. And the blind man would have a little hat for coins and a little sign, and he'd sit there all day. And as the copywriter each day would go into work, he struck up a bit of a relationship with the blind man, and he'd say hi to him each morning. And that went on for several years. Then one morning, the copywriter's going into work, says hi to the blind man as usual, but this time he knelt down and he wrote something on the sign that was leaning against the blind man's hat. And he went off to work. That evening, he's going back home. He says hi to the blind man, and as soon as the blind man heard his voice, he said, "Stop, sir, stop. For 3 years, I've been sitting against this tree with my little hat and my little sign begging for a few coins, and at the end of the day, I've only ever got a handful of coins in my hat. But today, my hat is overflowing. Tell me, what did you write on the sign?" And the copywriter said, "I hardly changed your sign at all. Your sign used to say, 'I am blind.' I just changed it to, 'It is spring and I am blind.'" And you can imagine if you saw that sign, how that would affect you. And obviously it was going to affect how much money the blind man got at the end of the day. And it's the same with your marketing. If you experiment with your marketing, if you methodically test, you will get vastly more effective advertising and vastly more money into your business. Okay, let's summarize all the ways we've talked about today to increase your profits. Number 1, triple your communication to your current customers. Number 2, triple it to potential customers. Number 3, experiment with putting your prices up. Give it a shot. Number 4, ask for referrals. Number 5, contact old customers. Number 6, increase your average transaction price. Number 7, limited time offers. Give them a trial too. Number 8, switch to long copy advertising and marketing. Number 9, create mountains of testimonials. Number 10, actually ask customers what they want. Number 11, offer them a money-back guarantee. 12, use multiple marketing approaches. And 13, test everything. Now, if you do even half those things, you will have a huge array of marketing weapons that you can use to send your business through the roof. Okay, now it comes to our weekly work, and this is such an important part of this course. Your homework is really simple. I want you to pick 2 of those 13 methods that most appeal to you, that seem easiest to institute, and get them to work up and running by the next lesson. So you've got 1 week to get 2 new marketing methods up and running. Now, it won't be hard, but you will have to devote a few hours to getting it happening. If you do this, you're going to see a difference in your business. If you don't do this, you'll never know what money you could potentially have made in your company. Put yourself under pressure. Really make yourself do this work, and you'll get the rewards. Well, that's it for me this week. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I want you to really put some work into the homework, because it'll make a huge difference to your life and certainly to your business. And in the meantime, work hard, think big, and I'll see you next week at the Fortune Institute.